morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whenever and wherever you and welcome back to the beat up plans with it to do with a little bit of Hearthstone, an evolved Hearthstone. But before we get into the video, I must say I apologize because I made a huge error, and I would also like to even make another additional comment. But yes, the error is that when I was looking for the warrior quest, I couldn't exactly immediately find Sulfaris right on the site. So I used Google to type it in, and I picked the first card that came up. That was a card that did a 2 damage, had a 6 durability, and had a death rattle to turn your hero power into the Ragnarok's ability. However, this is wrong. It is a free mana card that gives you a weapon, 4 attack, 2 durability, and a battle cry to change your hero power into the Ragnarok's hero power. That is so much better. And I think that quest is actually very viable. I first said it wasn't viable at all, but I think I really need to correct that. The fact that it's a battle cry means you don't have need another weapon to set it up, and it requires a lot less setup, and it is a lot less slow, because it also means you have a 12 burst damage possibility during the turn that you play this. And also, the card is 3 mana instead of all the 5 mana cost cards of the other quest rewards. So, I have to really state this. Now, before you go and flame me, you idiot, I actually also sold this weapon, the 2 attack, 6 durability, death rattle thing, in a video of, for instance, the famous Hearthstone player Brian Kibler, the Dragon Master. So, yeah, I'm not the only one that made the mistake, but that doesn't mean, of course, I am exhumed of all the idiocy. I'm sorry, that is an important thing. Moreover, I said that the Murloc Shaman quest wasn't as viable, I thought, as the Elemental. I still think that might be true if you're playing in Standard, but in Wild, anything as awesome is really good. And Call in the Finishers, the 4 mana card that summons 4 1/1 Murlocs, actually counts each and every Murloc to the quest. That means you can make a pretty aggro deck, because considering some of the cost of some Murlocs, that can be completed by turn. Well, if you have a lot of 1-drop Murlocs, I wouldn't advise to do that though. That can be done actually by turn 5 with Call in the Finish. That's 4. On turn 3 you have another 3, 2 on turn 2, 1 on turn 1. Voila, you have your 10 Murlocs. But that is a dream. By turn 6 it's just fine if you have something like the Primal Murloc that discovers another Murloc for you. The quest is more viable, and with anything as awesome, yeah, that can actually be quite an aggro Murloc Shaman deck. It is viable, but I think it's in Wild a lot better than it is in Standard, which is the same as I said for the Priest deck. Standard, it might be viable, but it's better in... Oh, I think it's more cool in Wild, because Reno will also be there, and then you have 40 health, full health, you will live forever. We'll have to see how it all pans out though. Now that I've put those things aside, let's get into the video proper. The worst legendary in the set, the Vorax. After you cast a spell on this minion, summon a 1/1 plant and cast another copy on it. This is supposedly an engine for the Paladin quest, which I think A is bad, and this is a horrible legendary! Ah, the luck! Oh, there's also another legendary, and it's the other bad one, it's Osruk! Oh, pack! Why? It's a good pack, 2 legendaries plus the Obsidian Shard, but it's 2 of the worst legendaries in this expansion. I'm gonna be behind the 8 ball again. Ah, the pain, the pain, the pain, the pain. And no legendaries in this pack. I did in the end manage to get the 2 legendaries in the 35 packs that I kind of should have, but they are not the best by a long shot. The video was actually going to be about, of course, the new quests and playing those, and those are, of course, the all kinds of videos that you see around. But then I realized, you know what, I am hopefully normal. meaning I don't have a ton of money to spend on Hearthstone cards. I am not the wizard, I am just like you. Because that's how I play Hearthstone, that's how I kind of feel like this channel is. I am not a pro player, let's be honest here. So, then I began to wonder, now that I don't have the cards for the quest decks, are my old decks still viable? Can you still play with those? Let's find out and see, huh?
Garrosh versus Gul'dan.
Your soul shall be mine! Victory or death!
So here you see the first card that I added to Spirit version 2.0. Because of the amount of taunts that are present, I have put in a single copy of Commanding Shout. It gives me both card draw, as well as allowing my minion to smack into possible taunt creatures and still surviving, so presenting a threat on the board. It is but a single copy of it, and I would not hesitate to immediately remove it in favor of patches, but I don't have patches, so that is why you see that kind of weird cards in Pirate Warrior here. So as he plays out a Direwolf, well, Direwolf kind of gives me the idea that I'm facing a Zoolock type of deck. So actually I'm kind of facing an older type of archetype as well. And decide to destroy my own weapon and let my Rusty Hook come out. I'm not upgrading it in this case because I have the Arcanite Reaper ready, and should he have, for instance, an Acidic Swamp Ooze or the new version of it, then he will get less armor of it, and I have no use to upgrade the weapon right now. So hence I don't do it. Same here, I do a little bit of damage to his guy. I have an upgrade ready. If he stays on 3 health, I can still destroy it later on with the weapon, but I feel like currently it's not necessary to upgrade it should he make a move. Now it's kind of weird to see Shadow Bolt in a Zoolock, so I'm not certain what he was doing, but oh well. Putting in a Frothling Berserker, making sure that we put in a new threat on the board. And I'm basically force him to answer me every time. There's a Blast Crystal Potion, which is hard removal, and then I begin to think perhaps he is a Zurinolock. But it can't be, because I'm playing Standard, so I'm not certain what this guy is playing at this moment, or this lady, could be both. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird deck, I admit. I'm not sure if this is like the best clip to show you if this deck is still viable, but he does have, for instance, or makes use of the new Tar Elemental that gets on your opponent's turn +2 attack. So now I'm considering, how do I bash through this? I could sacrifice my 5-3 here, but I kind of think that I can do more damage if she stays on the board. So hence I destroy my weapon, despite having it upgraded twice, take out the Direwolf for the board clear and do the 5 damage to the face. Unless he has another Shadow Bolt, which would still cost him a lot of mana to spend, you will have trouble with this. I don't understand this play entirely, because I have a weapon that does 5 damage, I can easily punch through. And here I'm already starting to think, well, if I take this out and use my weapon and my charges, how much damage do I have? It's enough that if I attack face, then despite the fact that that creature's on the board, certainly because I have Mortal Strike in my hands, there is no way he is going to survive. And thus, I win the game as Pirate Warrior. In fact, he kills himself. Intentionally or not, I do not know, but...
Versus Leandrin.
My hammer burns with holy fire.
For Doomhammer!
And the second game is with a good old Jade Shaman. Now, mind you, I still don't own Arya Blackpaw, so it's still a bit of a, well, as I tend to lovingly call my decks, a budget version of it. And this Paladin, well, this Paladin certainly makes a little bit more use of the new cards, because there is already one of them, Lost in the Jungle. Seeing this card come out, I'm thinking this might be the new buff type of Paladin. The one that likes to adapt Silverhand recruits. One that might, well, try and win through the new cards like the Spike-Ridged Steed. All those type of cards are what goes through my mind here. So I would like to keep the Silverhand recruits on the board to an extreme minimum if I can. And that's my thought process here. Now, I first attacked with the Jade Claws because I kind of wanted to see... I kind of had hoped that I could get more damage in, that he would play a card that was more on a curve. But no, he goes with another one of those, and I do want to keep the next 2 damage for something perhaps more potent that he plays out. Now here I am actually attacking with a Jade Lightning, despite doing 5 damage, and I have a Jade Bolt that would do 4 damage. I'm doing this in order just to increase my Jade counter. I know I'm overkilling it, and I could do it with the Lightning Bolt, but I really prefer to have... well, mind. Besides, I didn't want to overload, and here actually that is shown well. I can clear out the entire 5 hands. He already played a card that said, I'm going to adapt my Silverhand recruit, so he already gives away a little bit of his strategy. And thanks to that I didn't overload now, I already have some pressure on the board. And this pressure actually allows me to clear this wave again. Once again, I really don't want him to have this many silver recruits on the board that he can all adapt with plus... Say that he does adapt with plus 3 attack, right? That is 20 damage on board with all the 5 silver recruits, along with that new beast that aids with that... well, we just saw it being played, the 3-4. So... yeah, I really don't want the Silverhand recruits on the board. I'm trying to keep it under control. Now, I'm a little surprised, I have to admit, to see this card being played. It's generally not played much anymore. But that gives me a feeling it's, well, one of the ways for him to get into a long game. So, I need to put in pressure. Hence comes out my thing from below.
Follow the rule.
Well counterplayed here by Peacekeeper.
Let the pain speak to me.
And here you can see how order can be important. And placement. Because my Flame Tongue Totem is in between my Jade Golem and my thing from below. My thing from below still has 3 damage. I can take out the Peacekeeper, and my taunt then gets a 2-2. I still have 8 mana to go on the board. What shall we do? Well, increase our Jade counter. I wish I could place this Jade Spirit actually on the left and the totem and the Golem on the right, but I can't. And then I create another totem simply because I don't want to give out my entire hand, because I kind of fear an Equality and Consecrate combo. And therefore I do not go down that route. I don't think this is so much of a bad place if you're considering, like, why did you play your Jade Golem on the left? Because you have 2 totems on the right. But I want some board presence after, if it's not a Consecrate, to be both on the right and the left side of the Flame Tongue Totem. So, sacrifice again the 1-1 totem. That was kind of lucky that we got it, and now I am considering placing it on the left side. As you see, I'm a little hesitant because it does have 4 health and he has, well, a 4 attack weapon. So he could definitely take it down, but then he decides to heal a lot. So much that I'm like, okay, you haven't developed anything. I'm just gonna take this round and bash. All the health you just gained, more or less, gone. In fact, he is lower than he was before it did this. The fact also that he did lay on hands, I think he's desperately drawing for cards to survive. The thing that can make him survive here is an equality consecrate. Because a consecrate alone, or two consecrates even, well, he would have my board except for my Jade Chieftain. He could attack into that with his weapon. He would be still alive, but I have then still a lot of ways to come back with the Flame Faceless as well as the Wolves for protection. And there we go. There is the second win. Against a deck that actually did use some of the new cards. And there we have Maiev Shadow Song, the new rogue hero. Unfortunately, in this expansion, rogue isn't really the best class to play, so bit of a shame.
Malfurion versus Uther.
I will fight with honor. I must protect the wild.
And so we move on to Jade Druid. Considering the amount of ramp I have, I immediately start with putting down a Jade Golem. I don't know what this paladin's tactic yet is, but once again, if we're going to fight with Silverhand recruits, I'd rather put it down quickly. But yeah, we have a decently big ramp game in our hands, so hopefully we can get very quickly to the Ancient of War, for instance. And there is one of the other new cards around here, the 2/2 that discovers a Paladin's Secrets. Now, Paladin's Secrets aren't that very strong, but, well, there is, for instance, Noble Sacrifice that is kind of handy if you really want to save a card, or there is also, for instance, the ability to use Getaway Kodo and use it on the 2/2, and you could save it actually to replay it. Don't forget that that is a possibility. Now, we're ramping out already with more Jade Golems, and we have actually another Jade Blossom in our hands. And he is also making use of the new Igneous Elemental. So yeah, we're definitely looking here at another Paladin making very much use of the new cards. Just not using the new quest though. Here I am slowly considering if I should go to Nourish, but no, I can hero power this down, still have 2/2 on the board. And if he hits the 2/2, my 2/2 Jade Golem with his 2/3, I can still hero power down his Igneous Elemental. So I still feel decently comfortable at this moment. Now there is Gadgetzan, but unfortunately I do not have low spells to make a use of it, but, well, I could throw down the Ancient of War, but I don't feel very threatened, so I think this is actually kind of a good turn to use Nourish in order to, well, get myself some new cards. And there I have added to my new budget Jade Druid the Urban Skills card, which is a card that was much debated, and in fact I check here how many cards that he has. I don't need to count anymore. If you hover over it you can actually see it, but yeah, we almost did cause him to mill thanks to hitting all of his Igneous Elemental. And there, look at how many things get hit by Smuggler's Run. Yeah, this is a new... I have to give him a well played because there's a lot of elementals and things being hit here. Making use of the tokens. It's a bit like a token paladin, so it feels. And there, he fills the board quite... well... quite big actually for such a small turn, so to speak. This is where I think Ancient of War works. I could Earthen Skill it, but currently on the board there is 7 damage and he needs to hit it with a true Silver Champion. I'm okay with not Earthen Scaling it. Even if I did Earthen Skill it, he could still get it down with the current board plus his attack from his True Silver. So that's why I don't Earthen Skill my Ancient of War here. And there he has brought in another. We see another time the Tar Elemental that is really anti-aggro. And here he just brings me down to 5 and thinks, you know what? If I put him onto 5, this Ancient of War, I will have it killed. Because he can't get past me. This is where Earthen Skill comes in. It is not yet like very known for the meta that it will be used. Does I have a 6/6?
Where shall I
But I know my Ancient of War isn't long last for this world. I know he can simply trade it with the 1/1. That's... I understand that, but still. The Earthen Skills gave me enough armor to take the hit of the Tar Elemental, took out the buff Tar Elemental, and I still have a full 6 to taunt, which of course he can still remove on the board, but... And here he uses Volatile Elemental, which got buffed twice. I'm kind of surprised, because I don't think it is that good of a card. This, however, is a little annoying, as he has the curving elemental to do 2 damage to whatever he likes. And there he comes with the secrets that he discovered from the hydrologist. So, I'm not feeling too good. I still want to ramp up my Jade, and I need something big to contest all of this. So I'm actually dropping already the Arcane Giant, because I don't think it's useful here to hero power for 2 mana from the Innervate, and then cast a Giant at 1 cheaper because it won't do much. And here's a Spike Rich Steed card, so yeah, it is definitely a... At this moment, it doesn't look too good for me. Certainly now that he puts out a lot of secrets, and yeah, not too pleased about that. But I have Gadgets and Auctioneer. In my version, I have 2 of them. Now that isn't too common, so he might actually misinterpret what is the threat here. So we draw 2 cards, replenish our hands, draw another one, and then we have the ability to swipe. Now because unfortunately his minions are all 5 health, and you don't have any more the lovely Azure Drake for some spell damage, I'm like, yeah, I can swipe one of the creatures, but I don't have the mana to hero power it as well. So actually I'm going to go face here, strangely enough. So they also know where the free damage is gonna come from this dude. But then, oh no, redemption, it gets restored and it's already a 1/1. So actually that works out horribly for me. And then my attack of my Giant also gets redirected, and my opponent is feeling very happy about that, saying Happy New Year, clearly as in a taunt from like, you sucker, you lost, and then this happens as well. Ouch. Hits my Arcane Giant. Why, oh why? If it would have hit the Gadgets and Auctioneer, I would still have had 2 strong things on the board. But now, not so. He wisely takes out the Gadgets and Auctioneer. And sets up a lot of taunts, hoping to hold back aggression. I think if my Pirate Warrior would have played against him, it would have been a lot tougher. Though by this turn I might already have punched a lot. Now, time to ramp up the Jade again. That is a board that at least can somewhat contest his. But I have been behind the 8 ball a little bit. But Jade always was, well, not super strong in the beginning. So we have to take that into account. Sets it up so that his Star Elemental can kill it. Makes another good use of a Peacekeeper. And thinks, well, there's only a 5/5. He can't get through everything. Yeah. Let us think again.
I got the best deals anywhere.
My Earthen Skill actually the 1/6, not to get the 2/6 to destroy the Stegodon, because I have other ways to get rid of it in my mind, and I actually draw it immediately, and that is Wrath. Now, unfortunately, do not have enough mana to chain this off my Gadget and Auctioneer still, but still, we're moving up a little bit, and we have 2 big Jade Golems available to us. And I think he already seems to have played out a few of his strong things, though I'm still kind of fearful actually of Tyrion, but he doesn't come down this turn. He used smart attacks on Gadget and Auctioneer, couldn't do it otherwise, and then instead of sacrificing 2 creatures, he didn't want to do that, and he goes for cleanup duty. And there comes my budget version well in. I'm gonna go with creating some big Jades. I know I have 2 more Jade idols. One is in my hand, one is in my deck.
Where shall I strike?
This taunt, well, he hasn't got very big creatures. Take the 1 damage to the Tar Creeper so that my buffed Jade Golem can actually punch through it. And then the question becomes to me, shall I hero power or shall I make another Jade Golem? Well, I decided to hero power because this makes sure that he has to sacrifice both 3/3s currently on the board to get even through my taunt. So currently the board is advantageous to me again, and this Smuggler's Run I don't care too much about because it hits only on 1. I only fear actually here that he hits Tyrion. But it's still not a Tyrion, it is a value card. Might be good though, don't get me wrong. Get himself another elemental to replenish his hand. But there comes down Swipe. Swipes make sure that I can effectively get rid of this. I now know that it is end game and I need to push the button. And I push the button, well, by first insulting him considering his Happy New Year. So we bring him down to 1. And then I bring an 8/8. So he can say that this is a mistake, but even if he had a taunt with Divine Shield, I would have won. And so I do back with a Happy New Year. Those clips, I hope I've given you a little bit of hope. Because if you are like me, and you weren't very lucky when you opened your packs, or you haven't got a lot of money to blow on over 100 packs, don't worry. You don't need to throw your old decks into the trash can just yet. They may need a little tweaking, and I'm sure that the loss of Living Roots to Jade Druid is a painful blow, but even with this budget thing, because, well, I don't even have a second Feral Rage, as I don't have Vandal Staghelm, I don't have IO Blackball, I still was capable of beating a deck with, for instance, a Spike-Rich Steed card, sorry, the Paladin card. I was capable of doing that. I have been capable of beating with Pirate Warrior, the Priest deck, the Priest Quest deck. I annihilate them before they can even reach the quest viably. Or I've shown, as in the clip, other decks. Also my Jade Shaman beat quite a few of the new quest decks, like for instance, Lakshari's Sacrifice. Don't you worry, they are still viable. And just to show you how viable I think they are, I'm gonna craft on the camera for you, Aya Blackball.
Golems are a girl's best friend.
Because I do believe that golems are still a girl's best friend. I don't know if it is an A+ deck. The meta still has to form, of course, and I have, of course, as I said also at the beginning of the video, I have to apologize for a few errors that I made, but in principle, I have made predictions, and predictions aren't a matter-of-fact thing. I think they are still viable, and hopefully in the meta they will be strong enough to help me still move forward. And hopefully they will also help you. I say thank you for watching, and remember, great peril yields great beauty.